Hey everyone, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. So after weeks of chaos, legal fights, and families wondering how they'd afford groceries, we finally have some major news. The Supreme Court battle over food stamp payments has reached a turning point. The government shutdown that started all of this is finally ended. A deal has been reached in the Senate to reopen the government, though it's not fully signed or finalized yet, but this new development is already setting the stage for SNAP benefits to restart. And for millions of Americans, that can't come soon enough. Before we dive into everything that happened, I'd love to hear from you. How are things in your area during the shutdown? Were benefits delayed or cut where you live? Let me know in the comments. Your stories have been helping a lot of people stay informed and feel less alone through all this. All right, here's where we are. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is finally nearing its end. The Senate has reached a bipartisan deal to reopen the government through January 30th and restore funding to major programs, including SNAP, Veteran Services, and the Department of Agriculture. That means, yes, states will soon be able to issue full food stamp benefits again once the deal passes the House and gets signed into law. But getting here wasn't simple. For the first time in over 60 years, SNAP payments actually stopped at the beginning of November. Families across the country woke up to empty EBT cards, not because of a glitch, but because the government had literally run out of authority to pay them during the shutdown. Grocery stores in low-income areas reported sales dropping overnight. Food banks were flooded. And millions of Americans who depend on SNAP, seniors, veterans, working parents, suddenly didn't know where their next meal was coming from. You might remember from earlier updates that a federal court had ordered the Trump administration to restore full benefits. That's when everything spiraled. States like Oregon, New York, and Wisconsin began issuing full payments after that order, only for the Supreme Court to step in and pause it. The USDA then told states to undo those payments, creating a complete mess for everyone involved. Here's what was happening behind the scenes. The administration took the case all the way to the Supreme Court, arguing that it was illegal to keep paying full benefits without a new budget from Congress. They said it wasn't about cruelty, it was about the law, that the government couldn't spend money it didn't legally have. Critics didn't buy that argument. They pointed out that other programs, like border enforcement, somehow kept getting money even during the shutdown. So the question became, why single out food assistance? Federal Judge John McConnell in Rhode Island called it political games with the lives of 42 million Americans. And the First Circuit Court of Appeals agreed, saying the government sat on its hands for weeks while millions went hungry. But when the case hit the Supreme Court, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson issued a temporary stay, pausing that lower court order. That pause is what froze payments for millions of people. Then came the breakthrough, the Senate deal. After days of pressure from governors, protests from hunger advocacy groups, and even pushback from within the president's own party, Congress reached a temporary truce. The new funding bill would reopen the government, restore USDA funding, and ensure SNAP will be fully funded through September 2026. In fact, Solicitor General D. John Sauer even told the Supreme Court that once the budget passes, the entire legal fight becomes irrelevant, or in his words, moot. That's how we know this is the end of the legal battle, at least for now. But while the headlines might sound positive, the situation on the ground is still rough. States are trying to restart systems that were basically frozen for weeks. Some families received partial payments, others got none. And now agencies are sorting through files to see who still needs benefits reissued. A lot of you have written in saying your card shows zero balance even after the deal was announced. That's because the funds take time to process. States have to get official clearance from the USDA, upload payment files, and confirm the disbursement schedule. Some experts say it could take days, maybe even a week, before everyone sees the money show up again. If SNAP is fully funded again, states should just pick up where they left off. But in practice, delays are almost guaranteed. That means if your benefits haven't hit yet, you're not alone. It's happening in a lot of places. And even with funding almost restored, food banks are still packed. Across cities like Miami, New York, and Philadelphia, long lines of families are still showing up just trying to get through the week. In Daytona Beach, Florida, volunteers said they were handing out twice as much food as usual because people simply couldn't wait for EBT payments to come back online. You know, it's moments like these that really show how fragile our safety net can be. A single political standoff, one government shutdown, can ripple out into millions of homes almost overnight. And when you think about it, it's not just about food. It's about trust. People count on these programs to work. When that trust breaks, it leaves a mark that lasts long after the checks start again. The administration's defense, as we mentioned, is that it was acting on fiscal discipline, protecting the budget, following the Constitution, and respecting Congress's power of the purse. Supporters say this was about responsibility, not punishment. But others see it differently. They point to the selective way funds were prioritized, with billions redirected toward border operations and defense, as evidence that this was a political choice, not a fiscal one. The USDA estimates it takes about $8 to $9 billion a month to keep SNAP running nationwide. By the end of last week, nearly half of that was still frozen because of the Supreme Court's stay. With the new deal in place, those payments should now be unfrozen and processed in full once the legislation clears Congress. Still, it's going to take time. Administrative chaos doesn't just disappear overnight. Governors have already said they're rebuilding systems, checking eligibility files, and reauthorizing cards. And after everything that's happened, some state leaders are calling for new safeguards, like emergency reserve funds, so that this never happens again if another shutdown occurs. It's not just SNAP that's at risk. Experts are warning that Medicaid and housing assistance could face similar problems if future shutdowns stretch this long. Once the courts finish sorting this case out completely, we might even see new rules written about what agencies can and can't do during funding lapses. So yeah, the good news is the shutdown looks like it's finally ending and SNAP funding is coming back. But here's what you need to do right now. If you or someone you know relies on SNAP, make sure to keep checking your state's SNAP website or benefits hotline. Most states are updating schedules daily right now. If you're still waiting for benefits, contact your local social services office. They'll usually have the most recent information about when payments will be processed in your area. Check your EBT balance regularly over the next week. Once the deal is fully signed and the USDA gives the green light, payments should start flowing again. But the timing will vary by state. And in the meantime, if you need food now, don't wait. Call 211 or visit feedingamerica.org to find food banks near you. There's no shame in getting help while you're waiting for your benefits to be restored. The bigger lesson from all of this is that our systems need more stability so families aren't left wondering if they'll be able to buy groceries the next time politics stalls in Washington. We shouldn't have to go through Supreme Court battles and weeks of uncertainty just to know that people can eat. These are real families, real kids, real seniors, not political pawns. I want to speak directly to a few groups who've been hit especially hard by this. If you're a senior on a fixed income, I know this has been terrifying. You budgeted down to the penny, and then suddenly that money you were counting on just disappeared. Reach out to your local area agency on aging. Many have emergency food programs specifically for seniors. If you're a veteran, please know that veteran service organizations have been stepping up with emergency food assistance during this crisis. You served this country. Let them serve you now. If you're a working parent, your kids, schools may have weekend food programs or emergency meal assistance. Talk to the school counselor or social worker. They want to help. And if you're disabled and living on SSI or SSDI, contact your local disability services office. They often have connections to resources that can help bridge these gaps. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Legal rulings one day, reversals the next, and families caught in the middle. But now, with the government set to reopen soon and SNAP funding restored in this new deal, the hope is that states can finally stabilize things. Will there be delays? Almost certainly. Will some people still be waiting longer than they should? Probably. But the money is coming back, And that's what matters most right now. All right, that's the latest on the Supreme Court fight and the government starting to reopen. It's been a long few weeks for a lot of people, but hopefully things start getting back on track soon. If this update helped clear things up, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video. It really helps the channel reach more people who might need these updates. And hey, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Because I'll be watching this situation closely and letting you know as soon as there's more news about when exactly those payments will hit your cards. Drop a comment below and let me know. Have your benefits been restored yet? What's happening in your state? Your experiences help other people know they're not alone and help me know what information you need most. Take care of yourselves, keep an eye on your benefits, and I'll keep you posted as this story continues to unfold. We're going to get through this together.